Okay, so I think we start now. Okay, so good afternoon. So first of all, I'm today's speaker. So I'm Tiffany from A Plus Com. Okay, so actually today's sharing is about the I will show you what is the preparation that you need to do before you start the e-invoice and how you do the submission for the e-invoice, consolidated and the self-bill. Okay, and then I also will highlight some of the new features, okay, in the latest version of the Autocount. So at the last part, I will brief a little bit about the POS system. Okay, so yeah, so for now, I admit. So I think everyone can hear my sound, right? Okay, so if you all have any questions, so you can type in the text box, the chat box there. Okay, so my colleague will help to answer. So, okay. So today I'm not going to explain what is the e-invoice. So if let's say you still have no idea about what is the e-invoice, so you can check our previous video. So you can go to our YouTube channel. So I think there's got few of the video. So we have explained what is the e-invoice and then what is the consolidator, what is the sale bill. Okay. So yeah, so I will go to the auto count. Okay. So before I start, okay, so if let's say you want to use the e-invoice modules, so you have to make sure your current version is version 2.2. Okay, so if you're still using the 1.9 version or 2.0, 2.1, okay, so all this version is not support for the e-invoice module. So you have to make sure you already upgraded to version 2.0, 2.2. Okay, so if let's say you want to know what is the pricing, okay, so you can let us know. So we will let you know the pricing, like what is the invoice, the module price, and then what is the upgrade price. Okay. So if let's say you already version 2.0, 2.2, sorry, 2.2, okay, and then how you need to start to do the setting for the e-invoice. Okay, so first you have to go to tools. Okay, option. Okay, so under option, you go to country and tax. Okay, you go to country and tax, and then here we have another tab is e-invoice. Okay, so you have to make sure you already tick enable e-invoice. So if let's say you no tick, then all the setting related to e-invoice, it will hide. Okay, so you cannot see, you cannot do the setting. So you have to make sure you already tick enable e-invoice, and then you have to put your start date. So if let's say you are third batch of the e-invoice implementation, so you have to put 1st of July 2025. So if let's say you are the fourth batch, so means that it's the next year lah, 1st of January. Okay, so this one you have to put correctly, because if let's say you put the current date, then all the invoice that you key in, you approve, then it will do the submission. Then if let's say your settings still haven't done, then you will get the error. Okay, so and then do you allow create consolidated e-invoice? Okay, so if let's say your business practice is, if let's say you have the walk-in customer, okay, they do not request any e-invoice. So you want to do the consolidated, then you have to make sure you have to tick. So if let's say you untick, then system will force you every invoice that you issue out, the debtor must have the T number, the tax information. Okay, so if let's say you allow, then you can tick. Okay, so next one, interim relaxation. Okay, what is this relaxation period means? Okay, so actually every batch, the LHDN, they have give 6 months excuse. So means that even you start date is 1st of July, so you still can do the consolidated for all the debtor. So whether is got team is the business or the walk-in customer. So even you have the TIN number, so system will consider the invoice is consolidated. Okay, so this one, if let's say you want to go live, okay, then you have to put before the start date. So if let's say you are 1st of July 2025 start the e-invoice, then the relaxation period must put before 1st of July. So if not every invoice that you issue out, system automatic will take consolidated e-invoice. Okay, so it won't direct do the submission. Okay, so this one you have to take note. Okay, so for the next one is the consolidated e-invoice detail line limit. Okay, because when you do the submission, so LHDN they have the size limit. Okay, so if let's say you exceed the size limit, then you will get the error. So this one, so Autocount already set the default is 250. So this one, you no need to change that. You just follow the default setting. Okay, so let me admit. Okay, so and then we also have add new features. So this one I will explain later. Okay, so this one is considered is a new features. Okay, so for the next one is update e-invoice code list. Okay, what is this function is? Okay, so currently, so for the LHDN, they have their own MSIC code, classification code, unit of measurement code, and the country code. But we're not sure, maybe in future, they will add in another new code. Okay, so if let's say they announce they got a new code, so actually you no need to upgrade the auto count. So you can come back to the country and tax, and then e-invoice here, you just need to click the button update e-invoice code list. So the system will refresh the list. So all the new code will be updated in the system. Okay, so this one is the function for the update e-invoice code list. Okay, so in case lah, so in future they got a new code. Okay, so then you need to come back here and then you just need to click. Okay, so for the next one is, okay, once you enable the e-invoice, so at the same time, so it also will enable the approval workflow. Okay, so for the approval workflow, compulsory, if you enable in invoice, CN, DN, and self-bill. So all these 4 documents is the compulsory, means that when you do the invoice, so it will have the approval process. So means that you can save draft and then you can submit for approval and then you can approve. Because when you start the e-invoice submission, so once the invoice is approved, then system will direct do the submission to the LHDN. So once the invoice become valid, then the invoice you cannot do any amendment. So this one you have to take note. Okay, so that's why we will add in another function for you for the approval lah. Okay, so this one later I will show you how is the process. Okay, so that's all for the tools option, the setting. Okay, so now we will go to the company profile. Okay, so you need to go to the general maintenance under the company profile. Okay, first thing you need to do is the tax entity. So this tax entity is your own company tax entity. So where you need to update this is you have to go under, okay, you have to go under tax entity maintenance. Okay, and then under here, so you have to create your own company tax information. Okay, so you must choose business lah, local business, and then you have to insert your T number, your BRN number, and then your company details. So after you key in, you save, then you can come back to the company profile here, then you need to select. Okay, make sure your information is correct. Okay, so other than tax entity, so you can see here got the e-invoice tab. Okay, so this one, you have to insert your client ID and client secret. Okay, where you can get this client ID and client secret. So this one, you have to done your My Invoice Portal registration. So you have to register ERP. So when you register ERP, so the LHDN will give you the client ID and 2 client secrets. So you just need to update either one. Okay, so it's something like this. Okay, so you must have a client, 1 client ID and 2 client secret. Okay, so you just update either one the client secret. So if let's say you do know how to do this, register ERP, so actually we have the documents. So if let's say you do know how to do, so you can request from our support team. Okay, so we will send you the document. So the document will guide you how to do the registration in the My Invoice portal, and then first time registration, how you link the company, add intermediary, and register ERP. So this one you have to done first before you can do the setting in the auto count. Okay, so I will advise it's better lah, you done all this setting first. Okay, so next, so I will go back to system. So I'm not going to show this one. So if let's say you need, then you can request from us. So we will send you the document. So the document, we will have the guideline, how you do the setting. Okay, so now we go back to Autocount. Okay, so once you done, you okay, then here E-invoice status will show you connected. So if let's say connected means that this account book is ready to connect to your My Invoice portal. So you can do the submission. Okay, so this one is the company profile. Okay, so this one just for preparation. So before you start, so you can setting for your company profile first. Okay, so after the company profile, okay, so for the next one is you have to update debtor tax entity. So actually we have few methods. Okay, so I will show one by one. Okay, so for the first one is, if let's say you already have the debtor tax information, okay, then you can come to tax. So we have the tax entity maintenance. Okay, so you come here, then you click new. Okay, so at the category here, so we have 3 categories. Okay, so we have 3 categories. So if let's say you are business B2B, means it's the business, so you choose business. But if let's say for individual, normally this one is applied for the self-bill. Okay, then you can choose individual. So this one is for the government company. Okay, so normally we will choose the business. Okay, so after you choose the business, then you have to let system know it's local business or foreign business. Okay, because got difference. So if you choose the local business, means that okay, so means that TIN number, BRN number is the compulsory field. So these two must be filled up. Okay, but if you change to foreign business, so you no need to key in their TIN, you no need to key in their BRN. So system will generate a general TIN for your foreign customer or foreign supplier. So for the buyer is 20, for the supplier is 30. Okay, so this one you have to choose lah. Okay, so if let's say you choose local business, okay, first you have to key in their TIN, their BRN. So take note, BRN is the new BRN number. Don't key in the old BRN number. Okay, and don't key in both. So LHDN only accept the new BRN number. Okay, and then the MSIC code. So you can choose from the list here. So if let's say customer didn't provide you the MSIC code, then you can temporarily, you can put not applicable, because this one is the mandatory field. Okay, so and then if let's say you have their SSD number, or maybe they are doing the hotel, the tourism tax registration number, you also can key in. So make sure the format is correct. So if let's say you want to put in not applicable NA, okay, so you just key in NA. Okay, you don't put in N/A. Okay, so this one, LHDN, not accept. Okay, so take note, you just put in NA. So after that, you have to put in their company details. So their company names, their phone number, email address, postcode, city, and state. Okay, so if let's say you choose the foreign business, so these two you don't need to fill up. For others field, you still need to fill up. Okay, and then if let's say you choose the individual, okay, so for individual, so you can choose like either you want to key in their IC number or maybe their passport number. So normally they will give you the IC number lah. So you just choose the IC and then you key in their IC number here, and then you can put in their individual details. Okay, so for the last one is the government. So if let's say you have government business, you have government company, okay? So then you no need to put in their TIN number and BRN number. So for the government company system will generate the general TIN. So it's the 40. Okay, but other information you still need to fill up lah. Okay, so this one is you can by manually you come to tax entity maintenance here, and then you key in here, you update here. So after you key in at the tax entity maintenance, okay, then you have to make sure under your AR debtor maintenance, so you have to assign, okay, this company is mapped to which tax entity. Okay, so this one have to take note. Okay, so after you key in under tax entity maintenance, then you have to come back to the debtor maintenance there. So you have to assign lah. Okay, so this one is the first method, means you can manually key in and then go back to the debtor and then you assign. Okay, so if let's say you have a lot of the customer, I don't want to key in one by one. Okay, I want to generate a link and then send to the customer, ask the customer help to fill up. Okay, so we also have the function. Okay, so first you have to go to new lah. Okay, so I do one example. So example, Autocount example lah. Okay, so here you can see the button get TIN from AIP server. So you just need to click the button here, okay, and then you go to request company tax information. Okay, so your email is your own email, so you want to send out from which email address, okay, and then here you can click get link. Okay, then system will generate a link for you. So you just need to copy this link, okay. So you can WhatsApp or you want to email, up to you lah, okay? So send to your customer. So when your customer open the link, then if you come to this page, okay, then the customer have to fill out their information. So what is their email? Okay, and then what is their TIN number? So I just put in one TIN number, and then what is their BRN number, and then MSIC code. And then what is their phone number, address, postcode, state. Okay, so all these they have to fill up. Okay, so at the last part, you can see, okay, so system will ask, do you want to share your company tax information to allow other Autocount user to search your company in Autocount accounting software? So if let's say your customer, okay, so they have some of the supplier, okay, they also using the Autocount. So they can choose to share the company tax information. So next time when your customer, their supplier, when search in the Autocount system, so actually they can search their information. So then they can direct it to the tax entity. So they no need to manually fill up. They also no need to generate the link and then send to your customer. Okay, so this one later I will show you lah. So now I will submit first. Okay, so once submit, so your customer will receive the email for the verification code. Okay, hold on. Let me refresh. Okay, so this one, so they have to key in here. Then submit. Okay, so once submit, okay, then how you know the customer already filled up? Okay, so no worry. So system will send you the email to notify you. So the email, okay. So you will receive this email. Okay, then you know of who already filled up. So example, Autocount Sendirian Berhad. Okay, so what you need to do in the Autocount is, okay, so you have to go back to your debtor maintenance. Okay, you go back to your debtor maintenance. Okay, you look for the debtor Autocount Sendirian Berhad example. So you need to edit, and then you have to click again the get TIN from AIP server. So once you click, then if you come out all the information that your customer already filled up. So you just need to do checking. Okay, if let's say everything, okay, then you just click save. So when you save, so system actually also will check for the TIN number lah. So is it valid? So because I simply put so this one I will just yes to proceed. So once you yes, then system will auto add the tax entity and then it will auto assign to this customer. So that means you no need to manually key in. So your customer will help to fill up. Okay. So and then just now I got mentioned if let's say your customer they want to share the tax information, so their supplier also can search their tax information. Okay, how it works is okay. So this one I say first. So if let's say next supplier, okay, so actually they can go to the get team from AIP server, so they can search by company name, TIN or BRN. So this one I will key in company name. So example, Autocount Sandram Berhad. So when I search, okay, so because previously got some user already test, okay. So then if you come out this one, I fill up just now, okay. So from here, you can direct add to tax entity. Okay, so once you can search the customer, okay, then from here, you just need to add to tax entity. So system will auto create the tax entity for the customer. Okay, so this one is the function. How you get him from AIP server. Okay, so next, okay, because just now I show you is one by one. So you have to edit every debtor and then you have to get link every debtor individual. So if let's say you do edit one by one, okay, so I want to send a batch to my customer to generate a link. Okay, so we have a function. So you have to go to the find here. Okay, so if let's say you have any keyword, you can key in keyword lah. So I will search without the keyword. So I just search. So once I search, all the customer list will come up. Okay, so from the list here, then you can multi-tick lah. So which one you want to generate the link and then send to your customer. Okay, so from here you can tick. Okay, so example, all this I still haven't updated the tax entity. So I can tick from the list here. Okay, and then at the bottom, you can see a button, batch get TIN. Okay, so you just come here, you click, you yes. Okay, so you can see all the customer. Okay, you come out. Okay, so before that, you have to make sure you already insert their email address. Okay, other than that, you also have to make sure you already set up your email. Okay, because now it's batch, you batch send to your customer. So that's why you have to key in your email details here. Okay, so if let's say you're not sure how to do, okay, so you can ask our support team lah. Okay, so we will guide you how to do this setting. Okay, so after that, you can just generate request link and send. Okay, so once you click send, so all the customer will receive the link. So every customer, they will receive a different link. Okay, so the link will be different. So after that, they can just click on the link, then they can fill up. So after done fill up, so you will receive the notification. So this one is the batch get TIN. So you have to go to the find button here, and then at the bottom, batch get TIN. So this one is the second method. So you can get link and then send to your customer. So for the third method is we have a Excel template. Okay, so if let's say currently you already collect some of the customer tax information. Okay, so you don't want to manual key in, you also do want to generate link and then ask your customer to refill up again. So you can just copy your data and then put in the our Excel template. Okay, so and then after you input all the data, then you can ask us to help you to import in the system. So this one is the third method that you can update your customer tax entity. Okay, so for the tax entity, you just need to update for your customer. Okay, so for supplier, local, don't need. Okay, so just the foreign supplier, you need to update their tax entity. Okay, so take note lah. Local supplier do need to update their tax entity because its supplier side will do the submission for the e-invoice. Okay, so after the tax entity, okay, so now we will go to the stock item maintenance. Okay, so we will go to the stock item maintenance. Okay, so when you edit, so you will see here got a column is classification. So that means for your items, you have to update your classification code. So currently LHDN got 45 code. Okay, so from the 45 code, then you have to find out which one is your classification code. Okay, so this one, if let's say you just have less item, you can edit one by one and update lah. But if let's say you have a lot of the item, okay, then we have a function called easy item. Okay, so how you need to do is you can go to find. Okay, so you search. So if let's say you have different group, different classification code, so from here you can filter. Okay, you can filter. But if let's say all your items is using the same classification code, okay, then keyword you no need to put in anything. You click search. So all your item will show. And then from here you just need to check all. Okay, you check all. And then at the bottom, if you have a easy item button, so you just need to click. Okay, so if you come to this page, okay, first you must select all. So this one is the select all button. Okay, and then you go to range set. So from the range set, so you have to take. Now you want to update which column. Okay, so okay, now I want to update for the classification code. So you have to take classification and then you have to choose what the code you want to update. Okay, so example others lah. So you just choose others and then you just need to apply and then you click save. So automatic system will update for all the items. Okay, so this one is the easy item function. So if let's say your item have few of the classification code, you cannot setting like easy item. So actually you also can provide us the Excel lah. So what is the item code and then what is the classification code? So after that, we can help you to import. Okay, so this one is the classification code. Okay, other than classification code, so actually in the 2.2, so it also have a e-invoice measurement column. Okay, but this one currently LHDN say this one is not the mandatory field. Okay, it's the optional field. Okay, so this one is depends on you, you want to set or not. Okay, because this one is the optional field. But if let's say you have time, then you can start to setting first lah. Because we do know, is it maybe 1 year later, okay, LHDN say, oh, this one is the mandatory. Okay, and then at that time, you also need to setting. Okay, so actually, and in the LHDN, they have a list for the measurement. So this one is our UOM. So in the Autocount UOM, you put PCS pieces. Okay, then you have to map with the LHDN, the measurement list. So what is the PCS? So this one is the piece. Then you have to choose piece. And then you can save. So this one, we also can do it like just now. From you can use the easy item to update. But if let's this one is depends, is it your item or the UOM is same lah. So if let's say it's different, then you have to do by batch. Okay, so you just select all and then you go to ring set, then you take measurement. Okay, and then from here, then you can choose which measurement code you want to update, okay, to the items. So after you select the measurement, then you apply and then you click save, then automatic it will update to your stock item list. Okay, so in the item have classification code and measurement code. So classification is mandatory if let's say you have issue e-invoice. Okay, so this one is the mandatory field. So for the measurement is optional field. Okay, and then in the stock item, you can see here got a column, got a checkbox. Okay, so is it must generate e-invoice? Because based on the LHDN, the guideline, okay, so because some of the industry, they cannot generate consolidated. Okay, for example, if let's say you sell construction material or maybe some of the luxury goods, okay, so all the items you cannot generate consolidated, so you want system to control, then you can take. So for example, like concrete or maybe cement, this one is considered construction material. Okay, then you can take item must generate e-invoice. So if let's say when you issue the invoice, you have select this item. So when you save, so system will check your debtor is it got put in the tax entity. Okay, so you have to make sure your debtor must have the TIN number. Then only you can proceed to save the invoice. So this one is the controller must generate e-invoice. Okay, so after items, okay, now one more things to check is the currency code. Okay, so if let's say you have foreign customer or maybe you have foreign supplier, okay, so you have to go to your currency maintenance. So you have to check your currency code, is it correct? Okay, so how you need to check is, okay, so actually you can go to the LHDN, their website, okay, so they have their own code table. Okay, so you can go to the currency code here, then you can see the list. Okay, you can see the LHDN, the currency code list. Okay, so I give you one example. Okay, so normally user will key in wrong is the renminbi. Okay, so if let's say you have any China customer or China supplier, okay, so their currency is renminbi, right? Okay, so normally what is the currency code you will set? You must put in RMB, okay, previously RMB, renminbi, okay, but if let's say you put in RMB, you do the submission for the e-invoice, so actually our HDN will reject. So this one e-invoice is not valid. So what is the correct currency code for the renminbi? Then you can go to the LHDN, the portal there. Okay, you go to the currency code list. So you can look for the renminbi. Okay, so actually is the CNY. Okay, so after you find out CNY, okay, how you need to change in the system. Okay, then you can go to tools. Okay, you can go to tools and then you go to change code. Okay, and then you have to choose. You have to change currency code. So from here, you just click add, and then you choose your currency code, the wrong one, and then you put in your new currency code, the correct one, and then you click change. So system will change the currency code to the correct code. Okay, so this one, okay. So yeah, okay. So I think so for the preparation is for the company profile. Okay, I repeat what is the preparation Okay, so first is the under general maintenance. Hold on. Okay, general maintenance, company profile. Okay, make sure you have update your tax entity and the client ID, client secret. Okay, so next is the debtor. So your debtor must assign the tax entity. Okay, for the local customer, foreign customer, and the foreign supplier. So all these three types, you have to update their tax entity. Okay, so and then next one is your item. So your item have to update the classification code and the measurement. Okay, measurement is optional Okay, so for the last one is your currency code. Okay, make sure your currency code is correct. Okay, so you can check from the LHDN, the code list. Okay, so this one is the preparation. Okay, so after preparation, okay, so now I will show you the process how Autocount do the submission. Okay, so now I will go to the sales invoice. So I will do example in the invoice first lah. Okay, so once you enable your e-invoice module, okay, so just now I have mentioned, so it also will enable the approval workflow. So when you come to your invoice screen, so actually you can see they have a different tab lah. Okay, it's under draft or awaiting approval or approved. Okay, so from here, actually, you can set the access right, who can approve the invoice. So under the access right, you can go to invoicing, sales invoice, and then you look for approved invoice. Okay, so you can set the access right for your user, who cannot approve, who can approve. Okay, so if let's say, now I will do example is, I log in this one. So this user cannot approve. Okay, so if cannot approve means the user only can save draft. Okay, I will show you example. So sales one. Okay, so this one example lah, my salesman. Okay, so they log in, they go to the invoice. Okay, they create new. Okay, so just as usual, select the debtor. Okay, select the debtor. If let's say the debtor got the tax entity, then it will come out. Okay, so and then item here, just as usual, you just add in what is the item they purchase, and then what is the quantity. Okay, so if let's say the user they don't have the right to approve. Okay, so you see at the bottom here, they only can save draft or submit for approval. Okay, so if let's say now I save as draft, okay, I save as draft. Okay, when you generate, you print out the invoice report. Okay, actually you still can print out lah, but you have to take note the report will have the watermark. Okay, so the invoice will have the watermark if you show draft. Okay, so you can see draft here. So means that this invoice is not the final one. Okay, so if let's say the status still in draft, system won't do any submission to the LHDN. Okay, you still can edit lah. So you can edit, or maybe you want to change the item, or maybe you want to change the quantity or change the unit price. Okay, this one up to you. You still can change if your status is draft status. Okay, so after you change, you edit, then you can save a draft. Or if let's say this invoice already final, okay, then you can click submit for approval. Okay, so you can click submit for approval. So and then from here you can see this one, if you go to the awaiting approval section. Okay, so if let's say the staff don't have the right to approve, okay, they only can view lah, they cannot approve. Okay, so now I will go back to the admin user. So I refresh. Okay, so admin user, they have the right okay, so they can come to the awaiting approval, or they check got one document inside, so they can open lah. So if let's say you want to do checking, you can open the invoice and then you can check is it everything okay. So if let's say okay, then you can from here, if let's say you have multiple invoice you want to do approve, okay, you do want to one by one, you click approve button, actually you can check all. So here have a check all button for you. So you can just check all and then you can click approve. So this one you can do by batch lah, then you can start. Okay, so once you approve, then you go to the approve, then you have to check for the e-invoice status. So you refresh. Okay, so if let's say valid, when you print out the invoice, so system will generate the QR code. Okay, so once you approve, the e-invoice status is valid. So when you print out your invoice, So it will generate the QR code. Okay, so means that when your customer receive the invoice, they can scan, then it will come out to this page. So it will show who is the buyer, who is the supplier, and then what is the total amount when you do the submission. Okay, so this one is the invoice. Okay, so I go back. Okay, so one thing you have to take note is if let's say your invoice is still in draft status, so actually it won't post to your AR lah. So means when you check in the AR side, actually this invoice won't appear. Okay, so once you approve, then it only will post to your AR side. This one you have to take note. And then once you submit and then valid already, so if let's say you want to edit some of the columns, system will lock. Okay, system will lock the column. So especially what is the debtor names. So all this information that already submit to the LHDN, then you cannot edit. So example, customer name, date, invoice number, what is, and then description, quantity, unit price. Okay, so all this information you cannot edit. You cannot change. Okay, so what can edit here is if let's say you assign the wrong account number, then this one you can change. Or maybe you want to update for the reference document, or maybe you want to update the remark 1, remark 2, or you want to put in the note. Okay, so all this, because this information will not submit to the LHDN, then you still can edit and change. Okay, so if let's say the quantity really wrong already, okay, so I key in the wrong quantity, or maybe I key in the wrong unit price. Okay, so what you can do is within 72 hours, means within 3 days, you still can void the invoice. So you need to void the invoice, and then you have to recreate the new invoice. Okay, within 72 hours, if let's say anything details key in wrong already, so you only can void the invoice. So here got a void button, and then you have to reissue a new invoice to your customer. Okay, but if let's say after 3 days, what you can do, what you should do is you have to issue CN or DN to do the adjustment. Okay, so after 3 days, you cannot void the invoice. You only can issue the credit note or debit note for any amendment. Okay, so this one you have to take note. And then one more thing is, for the invoice, you cannot issue future date. Okay, LHDN not accept any document in future date. So this one have to take note. And then if let's say you want to backdate, okay, you want to backdate, then cannot more than 3 days. So example, today is 25th, okay? So you only can issue 24, 23, 22. So for 21, you cannot issue, okay? So you will have an error. Okay, what is the error is, okay, I already do an example. So when you open, so it will show you the issue date time value of the document is 20. Okay, so it's 20 means you have to adjust the date and then you resubmit again. So make sure it's within the 3 days. Okay, don't backdate more than 3 days. Okay, so this one you have to take note. But for this one, actually Autocount got enhanced the function, okay, to avoid this backdate 3 days. So later this one I will show. That one is considered is the new features. Okay, I will show later. Okay, and then one more thing is, if let's say you save draft, and then, okay, so actually this one got a setting, I show you first. So under the tools option, approval workflow. So at the bottom here, actually if you have a sentence, it is an approved document will be automatically marked as expired after how many days. So by default is 10 days. Okay, what it means is, if let's say you already saved draft, then after 3 days, you still no response for this document, then it will go to the expired. Okay, if you go to the expired, so for the expired document, you cannot convert back to draft. Okay, you cannot convert back to draft. What you can do is you can delete the invoice, you create a new one, you can reuse back the document number. So you just manually key in the invoice number. Okay, so this one you have to take note. If let's say you don't want 10 days, you can adjust the days here. Okay, up to you how many days you want. Okay, so for invoice, okay, so for valid, invalid, so normally if let's say your status is invalid, you no need to worry. You can just double click. Actually, the system will show you what is the reason. So this one is the document 2.0, and then this one is no internet. So make sure when you do the submission, make sure your computer have the internet connection. So if let's say you don't have the internet, then if you come, if you receive the error, okay. And then if let's say your customer TIN wrong already, okay, then you have to edit to the correct one. So how you need to do is, okay, so for example, so this one is the buyer TIN is invalid. Okay, actually you can edit, and then you just need to click at the TIN here. So if you open the text entity, so you just edit, and then you can change to the correct one. Okay, example, then you save. Okay, so you save, then you can see this TIN number already updated. So, and then you just need to save again. So system will do the submission. Okay, make sure the date is not backdate more than 3 days. Then if let's say okay ready, then it will become valid. Okay, so this one is for the invoice. Okay, so after invoice, now I will show you the cash sales. Okay, so if let's say you have walk-in customer, okay, so how you need to do for the cash sales? Okay, so I will go to the cash sales. Okay, so at the debtor maintenance here, so you can create a cash sales debtor. Okay, and then you have to take cash sales debtor. Okay, so if let's say this is the cash sales debtor, so you have to take this one. Okay, so after that, then you can go to your sales and then cash sales. So you just need to click new. So just as usual, okay, you just select your customer cash sales. Okay, after that, you add in your items. Okay, what is the item? Okay, so after that, so you have to choose, okay, the customer pay by card or cash or maybe multi-payment. Okay, so this one is cash. So you just key in cash, then you save. So this one is as usual. So if let's say the walk-in customer, they don't request any e-invoice, then you just, as usual, you just create the cash sales, you select the customer, and then you put in the items, and then you select the payment method. Okay, but if let's say the customer, they come to your shop, they buy, actually the customer is the cash sales debtor, but they request e-invoice. Okay, they want to claim company. So what you need to do is, okay, you can come to the cash sales. Okay, before that, you have to go to the tax entity maintenance. So you have to create the company information. So you have to request the company tax information from the customer. Okay, so if let's say they want to request, they should provide you the company details. So after they provide you, then you have to key in here. Okay, so you can key in here, then you save. Okay, so after that, you go back to the cash sales. Okay, you find the cash sales, then you edit. Okay, so you edit. Okay, so beside here, you can see here is show TIN is not specified. Then you have to click in. You have to click in, and then you can select the tax entity. Okay, so for example, this one is A plus, A plus, A plus. Okay, and then okay. So now already have TIN, so you just have to re-click cash. Okay, So you can see system will do the submission. So now already become valid. So when you print out your cash sales report, it also will generate the QR code. Hold on. Sorry, I need to choose the Malaysia e-invoice. Okay, so when you scroll down, then it will show you the QR code. Okay, so if let's say they don't request any e-invoice, actually you can do the consolidated. Okay, you can do the consolidated. So that one is 1 month, you just need to do 1 time. So when you need to submit the consolidated is the following month before 7. Okay, before 7 of the month. So this one is under consolidated. Okay, so this one later I will show. Okay, so now invoice okay, cash sales okay. Okay, so for credit note and debit note, okay, so the key in method just similar like invoice. Okay, so if let's say you have credit note, so you just need to select the debtors. Okay, you can transfer from invoice. You can take or which one customer return this one. Okay, one quantity, and then I okay. So make sure got the T number. Okay, so if let's say okay, so this one I will direct approve lah. So yes. So once you approve, so you refresh. Oh, this one take time. Okay, so actually the submission, the time normally is within 10 seconds. So this one, but sometimes it will take time. So be patient. So you can do other thing first, then you come back, you refresh the list. Okay, so if let's say already valid, then you can print out to your customer. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so this one submitted means actually already submit lah. Just waiting the LHDN to do the validation. So once valid, then it will get back, you will get back the status is valid. Okay, so for the status because sometimes the LHDN they will do some update at the server. Okay, so you will see sometimes you will get submitted or maybe it's failed. Okay, so no need to worry. So actually the Autocount, okay, so they will handle all this kind of the issue. So you just need to, you can do other things first, and then maybe 1 hour or 2 hours later, you can come back to the list and then you refresh the list. Okay, you see, valid already. Then when you generate the CN, then you will get the QR code. Okay, so normally they do the update. I think they will within 1 day they will settle the issue lah. Okay, so within 1 day. Okay, they won't drag so long for the update. Okay, so this one is the CN. For the DN also same lah. So you just select your customer, you put in your items, then after you approve. So if let's say everything okay, then you will get the valid debit note. Okay, so so actually when you go to your My Tax, okay, so you can, if let's say you want to do checking lah, example, this one is my sandbox. Okay, so you can see like just now what document that I issue. So it will post to your LHDN portal, your My Invoice portal. So from here, actually you can click, then it will show all the details here. Okay, so this one you can go to the documents lah. Under documents, then here you can see what is the document you submitted and then what document that you receive. Receive means maybe you have other supplier to already start the e-invoice. So when they issue the e-invoice to you, then you can see under the receive section. Okay, and then for your information, so you can see the reject button here, right? Okay, so actually after you submit the e-invoice to your customer, so actually they have the right to reject your transaction, your documents within 3 days. Okay, so once they reject your invoice or maybe CN or DN or maybe cash sales lah, okay, example, if they reject, then what you need to do is you have to go back to your Autocount. You have to find out the invoice. So if let's say it's invoice lah, they reject the invoice. So you come back to the invoice here. So you have to void your invoice. Okay, so you have to void your invoice after they reject. So actually, after they reject your documents, your transaction, so LHDM will send you the notification through email. Okay, so this one is depends when you do the registration that time, what is the email address you put in. Okay, so LHDM will send you the email to notify you or this customer reject your invoice. So then you have to come back here to void the invoice. Okay, just within 3 days. So after 3 days, then they cannot reject. Okay, so this one is for your information. And then one thing you have to take note is after you upgrade to the version 2.2, okay, so after you void the documents, okay, you cannot unvoid. This one is applied to all transactions. Okay, so it's applied to all transactions. So even you do you void in the quotation or maybe DO or PO or journal entry, cash book, okay, all these transactions, and after you void, you cannot unvoid. So this one you have to take note after you upgrade to version 2.2. Okay, and then one more thing I want to share is, okay, if let's say currently you are using the computer form, okay, you are using the pre-printer form, okay, you use the dot matrix to print out your invoice, your CN, your DN. So this one, after you start the e-invoice, then cannot use. Okay, why cannot use is because you want to print out the QR code, right? So if let's say currently you are using the dot matrix, okay, so actually after you print out, your customer, they might cannot scan the QR code. Okay, and then maybe your print head also will easy spoil. So this one you have to take note, so you have to plan. Okay, so maybe after you start the e-invoice, okay, so actually the computer form you cannot use, but for the DO quotation or maybe some of the report, you still can remain. Okay, just for those documents that need to print out the QR code, then I will advise you use the normal, the A4 paper lah. Okay, don't want use the computer form, just for your information. Okay, so I think e-invoice should be okay already. So now I will go to the consolidated. Okay, so for the consolidated is quite easy. Okay, so I close all this first. Okay, so I go to my consolidated. So if let's say you have walk-in customer, okay, then or maybe you are using POS system, then every month when you want to do the submission for the consolidated, okay, so you have to go under e-invoice. Okay, then here you will see for the new modules is consolidated e-invoice. You just need to click in, and then you click new. You just put in your date range, when to when. Okay, the document date lah, when to when. And then now you want to do the consolidated for which document type. Okay, so normally it's cash sales lah. Okay, but if let's say your invoice, you choose the debtor that don't have any tax entity, okay, it also will come to the consolidated. Okay, CN, DN, same lah. Okay, so if let's say you have the debtor, you forget put in the tax entity, then if you come to the consolidated, so you have to take note. Okay, so from here you just take what documents, then you generate. Okay, so after you generate, then system will let you know, or invoice total got how many, what is the total amount. Okay, and then when you click in, then it will show you the invoice is from which documents. Okay, this one is from I invoice 68 until 70. Okay, this one is because my invoice is invalid. Okay, so have to take note, if let's say your invoice is invalid status, okay, you didn't take any action to correct it, then it will come to your consolidated also. So before that, you have to check your invoice list and then your cash sales list, your CN list, EN list. Is it got any document that the status is invalid? So if invalid, then you have to check what is the issue, what is the reason, then you have to correct it and resubmit. Okay. So and then when you do the consolidated, it will show all the transaction, all the documents. So it will by range. So like this one, you can see 68 until 70. This is the total. And then the 71 until 74, it didn't show in the list is because you already do the submission. Okay, if let's say you already do the e-invoice submission, so when you do the consolidated, system will auto exclude that exclude all those documents lah. Okay, so you no need to worry, you have to filter one by one. So system will help you to filter. So if let's say okay already, then you just need to save. Okay, so once you save, then system will do the consolidated. Okay, so this one I will do in the cancel, I save. So once you save, so you refresh the list, then this one become valid. So if valid, so from here you also can print out the consolidated e-invoice report, and then you also will get the QR code. Okay, so this one is for the consolidated. So it's quite simple. Okay, just few steps. So you just come here, you add new, you set your date range, and then you take what is the document type you want to generate the consolidated, then you generate, after check, okay, you save, then system will do the submission. Okay, so this one is for the consolidated e-invoice. So after e-invoice, consolidated, okay, so now I will go for the self-bill. Okay. So for the self-bill, normally, so actually they have few scenario that you can do the self-bill. It's not all the it's not all the like this customer, okay, this supplier, they didn't give me the e-invoice, then I can do the self-bill. No, so if let's say they already start the e-invoice implementation, so actually they supposed have to give you the e-invoice. Okay, so this one you have to take note. So now I will do two examples. One is if let's say you purchase from overseas company, so from foreign supplier. Okay, so this one because they are foreign, you cannot do the they cannot submit the e-invoice to the HDN, so means that you have to on behalf to do the self-bill. Okay, so the other scenario is I will do at the cash book. If example, okay, now I pay rental, okay, but the owner, they don't have any business, they don't have any company, they cannot issue me the e-invoice. So on behalf me, I have to do the self-bill in the system. Okay, so first I will show you the purchase invoice first. So for the import goods. Okay, so now I purchase item from the foreign supplier, overseas company. Okay, so just as usual, you can start from the PO and then go to good receipt note and then go to purchase invoice. So now I show you is from purchase invoice lah. So I skip all the PO and GRN. So I will direct go to the purchase invoice. Okay, so first in the purchase invoice, you have to select your supplier. Okay, example, overseas supplier. Make sure your overseas supplier, you already assign the tax entity. Okay, you already assign the tax entity. Okay, remember the tax entity there, you have to choose is foreign supplier, foreign company. Okay, don't choose the local. Okay, so after that, you can put in their DO, you can put in their invoice number. Okay, so now I will go to item. So from here, I just need to select what item I purchased from this supplier. Okay, so example, this one I purchased 110 ringgit. This one 50, 2 ringgit. Okay, so this one 105 ringgit. Okay. So I just key in as usual lah. So what is the supplier? What is the item I purchased? Put in the quantity, unit price. Okay, the rate you can set here, the currency rate. Okay, and then I just save. Okay, so after I save, Okay, after I save, okay, when you need to do the self-bill is when you receive the K1 form. Okay, when you receive the K1 form, okay, then you can come to the purchase invoice. You can look for the purchase invoice for the supplier that you want to do the self-bill. You can right-click and then copy to a new self-bill. So actually have two ways lah. One is you go to the purchase invoice, you right-click the documents, you copy to a new self-bill. Or you also can go to E-invoice and then self-bill. Okay, so from here you click new and then you can copy from purchase invoice. Okay, you can copy from purchase invoice. So from here you can key in the keyword and then you search. Okay, so now I want to do self-bill for this supplier. Okay, so I just take and then I okay. So you will see all the details will copy to the self-bill. Okay, what is the item I purchased, and then what is the quantity, what is the unit price. Okay, so and remember, after you receive the K1 form, you already have the details for the K1 form details. So you have to go to the annexure here, you have to update. Okay, so you have to update all this information. Okay, so after you update, then you can approve. Okay, up to you lah. You want to save draft first or you want to approve. Okay, so now I want to approve, so I just approve lah. So and then you just check for the status. So now it's valid. Okay, so for the self-bill, you also can print out the report if you want. Okay, so you can just go to preview and then this one is the self-bill. And then you will see the QR code. So this one is for the example for if let's say you have purchased from the overseas company. Okay, so and then the other scenario is, okay, now I want to pay rental. Okay, I want to pay rental. Okay, but the owner, they don't have the company. Okay, so for this, I will go to cash book. Okay, so before I go to cash book, so actually you have to create a tax entity for the owner. Okay, so you have to choose individual. Okay, so you have to choose individual, and then if let's say they give you the IC, then you choose my card, and then you put in the IC number, and then you key in the details. Okay, so after that, now I will go to the cash book entry, I add new. Okay, I go to new payment voucher. So from here, you no need to key in pay to who. So from here, you can select from the list. Okay, so example, I want to pay rental to Lim Xing Ying. Okay, so we will come out the TIN or IC number, and then here you can key in the description, and then where you credit, which account you want to debit. Okay, office rental, okay, 3,000. Okay, so after that, I just save. So this one is for payment voucher lah. So after you key in, then you can print out the payment voucher. Okay, so after that, if let's say this payment voucher, you want to do self-bill. Okay, so you can right-click, copy to new self-bill, or you also can go to the self-bill and then copy from cash book. Okay, up to you which one you prefer. Okay, so for this one, I can just copy, right-click, copy to a new self-bill. So you can see all the details. If you copy from your cash book and then go to your self-bill. So you just check like, is it everything okay? Is it correct? Okay, if let's say correct, then you can approve. So when you go back to your self-bill list, you refresh, then it will become valid. So when you generate the self-bill report, it also will have the QR code. So every time after you copy, so when you go back to the list, you refresh, actually it will show you the self-bill number lah. So from here, then you can know which payment voucher or which purchase invoice you already do the self-bill. So you won't double copy to self-bill and then double duplicate submission. Okay, so this one is for the self-bill. Okay, so I already cover for the e-invoice, for the consolidated, and also for the self bill. Okay, so now I want to show you, I want to highlight, I want to share few of the new features, okay, in version 2.2. But this one you have to check your current version, okay, because this one is the new features is in the latest version. So the latest version is revision 26. Okay, version 2.2 revision 26. Okay, so I will show you what is the new features enhanced in the Autocount. Okay, so for the first one is, okay, so when you go to the tax entity maintenance, okay, so when you go to the tax entity maintenance, okay, so now when you click new, okay, so you can see they have a find button here, search theme. Okay, how you use this is, so you can put in the BRN number. So example, this one is for the A plus the BRN number. Okay, so I copy, I paste. Okay, then from here, I can just click search theme. So after click search, so if you have a result, so it will show you like teen was found for BRN, this number, then you can click yes. So system will auto update the teen number for you. Okay, so you can see this one and this one is match. So means it's the correct one. So this one is the new features in the latest version. So you no need to request the TIN number from your customer. Okay, so if let's say you already have currently you already have their BRN, their company name, all this, then you no need to request the TIN number. From here, you can search by the BRN number. Okay, so and then for the company name, I tried before. I think this one still cannot lah. Okay, I tried but cannot find. Okay, so I think this one is still pending. So now if let's say you want to search, you can search by BRN. Make sure it's the new BRN number. Okay, so you can search from the tax entity. So for the individual, okay, so for the individual, so example, okay, now I key in the IC number. Okay, I also can click search. So system will search the TIN number also. Okay, so if you apply for the business and the individual, business is searched by BRN, individual is searched by IC number. Okay, so this one is the new features, new enhancement. Okay, so for the second one is, okay, if let's say you have online sales. Okay, so you have online sales like Shopee, Lazada. Okay, so because for the e-commerce platform, okay, so actually they will issue the e-invoice to the customer, to the buyer, and then they will issue the sell bill for the seller. So means that your site no need to do anything. You no need to do any submission for the e-invoice. So for the previous one, you have to edit one by one, right? So you have to go to the invoice. If let's say this one is the Lazada sales, so you have to go to under edit, you have to manually untick submit e-invoice. Okay, but now Autocount already enhanced. You can go to the AR, debtor maintenance. Okay, so you can look for the debtors, okay, like Lazada or Shopee, or maybe TikTok. Okay, so you just need to edit. So you will see a new column here, new checkbox here. Okay, so you can tick do not submit e-invoice. Okay, so once you tick, then every time when you issue invoice or CN or DN to this customer, so system will auto untick submit e-invoice. So you don't need every time you have to manually untick. Okay, so this one is the new features also. And then for the next one, okay, for the next one is when you issue the invoice. Okay, so when you issue the invoice, okay, so if let's say the tax entity you assign wrong already, okay, so this one, or maybe I save, Okay, so this one I save draft first lah. Okay, so I save already, and then this test entity I key wrong already. Okay, so I cannot change ma. Okay, so I cannot change. Okay, so I will change in my debtor maintenance. So I will find this debtor and then I change to another TIN number. Example, I simply put one okay, I put Autocount lah, example. Okay, so I assign the Autocount. Okay, so after I change, when you go back to the invoice, it still remain the wrong one. It still remain the wrong one, right? Okay, so now it have the refresh button. Okay, so you can just click update latest TIN. So it will check your debtor maintenance. If let's say you change already, then it will update the latest tax entity to this invoice. So you will see now it's become Autocount. It's not ABC Sendirian Berhad. Okay, so now already have a update lah, refresh button here when you issue the invoice or CNTN lah. Okay, so this one is the new features. And then let me see. Okay, still got okay. So for the previous one, okay, the old version, okay. So for the ARCN, it cannot do the submission, right? So everything is related to the credit note. You only can do in the sales credit note. Okay, but now system already enhanced. Okay, even you create the AR credit note, okay, system also able to do the submission in the AR credit note. Okay, only AR credit note okay, so AR invoice entry, AR debit note, AR refund, all these no submission okay, so you have to take note only the AR credit note you can do the submission. So this one is normally maybe you give discount or maybe you give rebate. It's not related to push return. So normally you will create under ARCN, right? So now you can key in under AR credit note and then you can do the submission. Okay, so this one is in the new version. Okay, so you can do the submission in the AR credit note. And then for the sell bill, so previously you only can copy from purchase invoice, right? Okay, so if let's say you're still using the old version, so you only can copy from purchase invoice. So now you can copy from AP invoice. Okay, so for AR credit note, you also can use, if let's say you want to copy to the sell bill, you also can copy from AR credit note. Okay, so one more thing I forget to show is, okay, so if let's say the sell bill, okay, so the sell bill you create wrong already. Okay, so if let's say you create wrong already, okay, actually within 3 days, you can void the sell bill and then you recreate the new one, right? Okay, so this one is within 3 days, you can void and recreate the new one. But how about if let's say you're already over 3 days? Okay, so if let's say already over 3 days, so you have to issue CN, right? CN sell credit note, sell bill credit note. So you can click new. Okay, or I open the old one. Okay, I copy to a new sell bill. Okay, so document type here, by default, it will go to sell bill invoice. But if let's say now I want to do CN, I want to reverse back the credit, the sell bill. So you have to change to sell bill credit note. Okay, so means that this one is the CN for the sell bill. So after that, you just create a new one. Okay, for the correct one. Okay, so this one is, if let's say you want to do sell bill for CN, so from here you can change. Okay, so now we continue for the new features. Other than that, okay, so we have, okay, so just now when we go to the option, okay, okay, don't show this first. Okay, I show you the invoice. Okay, so just now I have mentioned, so if let's say you issue the invoice and then the date is already backdate more than 3 days, okay, so actually the LHDN will reject your e-invoice. So you will get the invalid e-invoice status, okay? So now, previously we no control, okay? We are no control for the date, okay? So, but now if let's say I key in this invoice, okay, I change the date to 21st, okay? And then I issue my invoice. So when you approve, so it will prompt out an alert message for you, okay? So it will prompt out the alert, and then it will show you lah. We have detected your document date is more than 3 days. And then for e-invoice submission, do you want to system to auto assign today date as your e-invoice submission date? Okay, actually before that, we have a new column is called submission date. Okay, so this one is the document date, and then we also have a column is called submission date. Okay, so before that, you can manually adjust the submission date. But now, if let's say you click yes, so you today approve, so system will auto change the submission date to today date. Okay, so if let's say you want to always use today date as e-invoice issue submission date, if document date is more than 3 days, you can just take. Okay, then every time if let's say system detect or your document date is already backdate more than 3 days, so system will use the approved date, means the today date, as your submission date. So if let's say you do want system every time from this alert, you can take. Okay, or you also can don't take. Then every time if let's say your document date is more than 3 days bad date, then if you prompt out, then you can click yes. So when you click yes, so the document date, I try refresh. It takes some times. Okay, so never mind. I just explain. Okay, so the date, the document date still in 21st of April. But here, the submission date. Where is the submission date? It's supposed to have a submission date here. But now, no. Okay, it's okay. So you can see the submission date time will become today date. Okay, means you today submit, but your document date is the previous one. Okay, it's the backdate one. Yeah, so if let's say you already changed the submission date, is supposed to be valid lah. Okay, never mind. Later we come back to check. Okay, so I will continue to the next new features. Okay, so the next features is the most useful one. Okay, so previously got a lot of the user request for these features. Okay, so these features is every time when you submit for the e-invoice, valid already. So for the current practice is you need to print out the invoice, okay? And then you have to print out, or maybe you export to PDF, you email or WhatsApp to your customer, right? Okay, so now we have enhanced another new features is, okay, once my invoice already valid, I want system to auto email the invoice with the QR code to my customer. Okay, but before that, you have to do some setting first lah. Okay, so you can go to the tools option. Okay, tools option, you go to country and tax. Okay, still the e-invoice tab. Okay, so here got a button, auto email validate e-invoice. So you click in. Okay, so from here you can enable which document you want to auto email. Okay, you can take whatever you want. Okay, invoice, cashier, DNCN or ARCN. Okay, so after you enable, so you have to choose your report format. Okay, you have to choose your report format. Make sure your report already have the QR code lah. Okay, if let's say no QR code, you send out, the customer receives, okay, then they cannot see the QR code. Okay, so you can default your report format here. And then the email content, Okay, so you can amend whatever you want. Okay, so this one is the default one. So if let's say you want to change, you can change. Okay, so the subject you also can change. But if let's say all these like they want to get the data, don't change lah. Okay, so because this one is will document number, then it will auto come out the invoice number and then from which company. Okay, so this one system need to grab the data one. Okay, so this one don't change. But others, if let's say you want to change the sentence, okay, then you can add in here. You can amend here. Okay, so after you amend, you okay, and then you okay. Okay, so this one, they will send to which email is, they will send to the customer, the debtor maintenance. So here got the email, right? So it will send to this email address. Okay, not the text entity, the email. So not this one, is under the debtor maintenance, the email address column. Okay, so make sure your customer already insert the email address. Okay, so after that, and then one more thing is, okay, they got a note, okay, they got a message. Okay, and then for the cash sales, is not support this function. So if let's say you have the walk-in customer, okay, you issue cash sales. Cash sales normally is for the consolidated okay. So this function is not support for the cash sales debtor. So this one you have to take note lah. Okay. So after that, every time when you issue the invoice already valid, okay, so actually you will receive the email like this one. Okay, this one is just now I create one. So you will see your customer, you receive the email, and then when they download the documents, so this one is the invoice and then with the QR code. Okay, so like CN, it also will receive the email for the CN. Okay, so before that, you want to use the function, same, you have to setting for your email. Hold on. Okay, so tools option, country and text, e-invoice, auto email. So email setting, you also have to done first before you can use this function. Okay, so this one, if let's say you don't know how to do, so you can call our support lah. Okay, so we will assist for the setting. But you have to provide us the details lah, because we also do know your email setting, right? Okay, so this one is the new features, okay, in the latest version. So if let's say now you go check your Autocount, you cannot see the function, the new features that I showed just now. Okay, so you can call our hotline, okay, or search our support team, look for our support team, and then you can arrange for the upgrade. Okay, but you have to continue our support maintenance. So your support maintenance, if let's say it's still valid, then we can arrange the upgrade for you. Okay, so that's all for the Autocount accounting. Okay, so I already covered the E-invoice Consolidated and self-bill and also highlight some of the new features. Okay, so now I will spend a little bit time for the post. Okay, because we also have the feedback, some of the users, they do know post is how to process for the e-invoice. Okay, so now I will show the post system. So for the post system, actually we have two optional function, additional function, but it's optional. It's up to you. Is it you want to purchase or you don't want to purchase? Okay. Oh, okay. So now I will show you how to check the Autocount version. Okay. So you just need to log in to your Autocount. You can go to help, and then you go to about Autocount accounting. Okay, so the latest version should be 2.2, build 18, and revision is 26. This one is the latest version. So if let's say your version is still below than 26, means that you still is the old version now. Okay, so you can look for our support team to arrange for the upgrade. Okay, so yeah, okay, so now I will go to the POS system. Okay, this one. Okay, so I will log in. So I will not going to show you how to do the POS. So I just show you the features for the e-invoice. Okay, so if let's say you are using debtor, okay, so in the POS system, okay, if you select the debtor, then easier. So if let's say your debtor already assigned the tax entity, so by default, their information will show in the POS system. Okay, so this one is if let's say you have used the debtor in your POS system lah. Okay, so if let's say you know using the debtor, okay, so why need to use debtor is if let's say your POS system got credit sales. Okay, this one is not necessary. Okay, just only that when your business, okay, you are retail, but you still accept credit terms from your customer. Okay, so normally we will enable this function for you, means you can select the debtor. Okay, but if let's say you don't have, but you're using the member, so for the member one, you have to take note. Okay, so for the member, we will not store the tax information for you. So means that every time the member they come to buy items from you, okay, so you have to fill up their information. Okay, so but this one you have a lot of work to do, right? Okay, so we have a function is called QR code. Okay, QR code. Okay, what is the function is? Okay, so now I choose the items. Okay, if let's say all these item, this customer they come, they buy this item. Okay. Okay, example like these two items. Okay, so member or no member also same process. So this one I key in without member. Okay, so the customer, okay, they come, they buy these two items. Okay, then I will select which payment method. Okay, so if let's say it's cash, okay, then I will key in cash. And then from here, you can see it have a checkbox for you. Is it you want to print QR submission? Okay, so if let's say you take yes, okay. Okay. So every time when you print out the receipt, at the bottom at the bottom of your receipt, you will see the QR code. Okay, so if let's say the customer they buy the item actually is for company use, so they have to claim company, right? Okay, then they can just scan the QR code. Okay, they can scan the QR code. Then if you come to this page, okay, then it will show, okay, who is what is the company name, what is the date time, and then what is the receipt number, what is the amount. Then below here, they have to put in their information, their company information. Okay, so example I put A plus lah. Okay, example A plus com. The email, I put my email. This one is the business, and then TIN number. Okay. TIN number, and then BRN. Make sure information must correct. If not, then it will become invalid. Okay, so no SSD. Okay, and then the phone number, all these. Okay, and then I submit. So if let's say information correct, then you just submit. Okay, so after the buyer already key in all the information, okay, so actually they will receive an email from Autocount. Okay, I show you. Try to refresh my email first. they need some time to process. It's okay. So I will show you in the POS system how you check the transaction. Is it already submit for the e-invoice? Okay. So if let's say you want to check, you can go back to your POS system. So you can go to Find View. So from here you can search that. You can filter your date. Okay. And then you can search. So from the column chooser, actually you can drag out which column you want to show in the listing. So normally I will drag out the e-invoice status lah. Okay, so from here actually already valid. So suppose your customer will receive an email, okay, to notify your customer already submit the e-invoice to LHDN and then the status is valid. And then in the email, it also will attach the invoice with the full information and the QR code. Okay, so I try see again. This one. Okay, so this one. So the customer, they will receive e-invoice status for document. This one is the receipt number. So it's valid. So if let's say invalid, your customer also will receive the email. Okay, and then invalid. Okay, so if invalid, how you handle? Okay, this one later I will explain. So from this email, if let's say the document is valid, so from the email they can direct download the invoice. So you can see all the invoice already fill up the information. And then at the bottom, we'll have the QR code for the validate link. Okay, so this one means that your staff no need to sit at the counter there and then they have to manually key in the customer information. Okay, so every time when you print out the receipt, automatic will have the QR code. It depends on customer. Is it they want to request for the e-invoice? If let's say they want, then they have to scan, they have to fill up. Okay, and then from the system, they will send the email to your customer to notify them your invoice, is it valid or invalid. Okay, so if let's say invalid, how you need to handle is you have to come back to your system. You have to find out the bill. Okay, so you can see if let's say invalid, then it will come out invalid lah. Okay, so if let's say invalid, then in the so this one your customer cannot do. So they have to inform your staff. Okay, they have to inform your staff. So your staff have to come back to the POS system, find out the bill, and then go to the submit e-invoice. They have to correct the information. So after correct the information, okay, then they can click OK. Then system will do another submission. So after they do the submission, become valid already. So your staff have to print out the invoice with the QR code and then send to your customer. Okay, so this one is the flow lah. So if let's say valid, then no issue lor. Okay, but if let's say invalid, then this one your staff have to do lah, because your customer side, after they submit the information, they cannot edit. So if let's say want to edit, so only the staff, only the user in the POS system, they can edit. Okay, so once change the information become correct already, then you have to resubmit. Okay, so and then so okay, so this one is if let's say you have purchased the additional function, okay, QR submission and the mail submission. Okay, so these two actually is the additional function. One is called QR submission, and then the other one is the email submission. Okay, these two you have to purchase. Okay, so if let's say you are using the POS system, but you don't want to purchase the additional function, okay, so how you need to do the e-invoice? Okay, so this one is troublesome lah. Okay, because your staff, okay, every time after you add in your items, Okay. 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 So at the more function here, so you have to manually key in the information manually. Okay. Every time the customer come, okay, they want to request the e-invoice, then every time you have to key in. Okay, so this one is without the additional function. Okay, so if let's say you use the additional function for the QR submission, then it will simplify lah. So means that your staff will no need to key in. Okay, so they can scan and then they can fill up by themselves and then they can direct submit. But if let's say you don't have this function, then every time if let's say the customer come, they buy, they want to request e-invoice, okay, then they have to provide you the company tax information. So your staff in the system, they have to manually key in. So after that, you click OK, and then only will do the submission. So after the submission, then your staff have to print out the invoice with the full information and then the QR code and then give to your customer. Okay, so this one is for the POS system flow. Okay, the process in the e-invoice for the e-invoice. Okay, so for TOS, don't need the e-invoice. So when the transaction sync to your back end, so your accounting system means your back end system will do the consolidated. So during the consolidated, so all those bill already submit e-invoice, then in the consolidated system will auto export. Okay, so you no need to filter. So system will help you to filter out the transaction that already submit for e-invoice. Okay. Yeah, so this one is for the POS system. So if let's say you want to know how to use the POS system or how the system sync the data to the back end, you're interested to know, okay, so you can let us know lah. Okay, so we can arrange a demo for you. Okay. So, okay. So now I think okay, come to the end already. Okay, so if let's say you still using 1.9 or 1.8, okay, so this version is very old already lah. So if you want to use the e-invoice module, okay, so you have to upgrade to 2.2. Okay, only the version 2.2 can use the e-invoice function. Okay, so now still have the 35% off. Okay, so if let's say you want to upgrade, then you can look for our sales contact lah. So Miss Intro, okay. So she will quote you, or if let's say you looking for the system, okay, you want to see the demo, you also can look for Miss Intro. So she will arrange. Okay, so now it's Q&A section. Q&A section, let me check. So I think my colleague will answer you. Let me see. A lot of message. Oh, now try to scroll down. K1 form is mandatory. Yes, based on the LHDN, the guideline. So if let's say you purchase from the overseas, you have items, okay, you will get the K1 form. So the K1 form, when you issue the self bill, actually is mandatory lah, but system is no control. Okay, so in the system no control means that even you leave blank for the annexure, so your self bill you still can submit. Okay, so but actually suppose is you have to fill up the K1 form details like in the annexure. Okay. Um, um, I think most of the questions my colleague already answered. Purchase service from overseas. subcontract wages. Okay, so if let's say your subcontract wages, is it you will use the payroll process? Is it include in your payroll process? Okay, so if let's say it's already included in your payroll process, then you don't need to do the self-bill. Okay, so if not, then you have to issue self-bill. Okay, because when you do the payroll process, you will submit for the income tax, for the EPF, SOCSO. Okay, so actually the government, the HDN, actually they already can keep track. Okay, your expenses. So for the payroll items, you no need to issue self-bill. Okay, so actually today the sharing, the presentation, we already recording. Okay, so I think later on we will send you the link. Okay, if let's say you want to view back today video, okay, so we will send you the link later. Okay, so for staff claim, okay, so for staff claim, actually, when your staff, they go purchase, they go buy things, okay, actually the thing is for company use. So actually your staff should request the e-invoice from the company, so from the supplier. Okay, so I think for nowadays the Tesco, you go buy things from the Tesco or Mr. DIY, they give you the receipt. Okay, so you will see the QR code at the bottom. So if let's say this item actually is for company use, then actually you can just scan the QR code and then you fill up the company details, and then they will give you the e-invoice. Okay, so so if let's say you still have any questions you want to ask, okay, so you can look for our support team lah. Okay, so I will not go through one by one. Okay, so yeah, so that's all for today's sharing. Okay, so we have a good news is we are planning to have another section for the e-invoice training, but in Mandarin. Okay, so because some of the user their feedback, okay, they want the Mandarin section, so we are planning. So if let's say we already confirm the date, okay, then we will post in our social media, so you can follow our Facebook or Insta. Okay, so if let's say we confirm already, then we will let you know, so stay tuned. Okay, so if let's say you have any inquiry about Autocount or POS system, you are looking for a new system, you want demo, or maybe you currently still in version 1.9, you want to upgrade to 2.2, okay, so you need the quotation. Okay, so you can look for our Miss Intro. Okay, so you can text her or call her. Okay, so if let's say you're currently using 2.1 or 2.0, okay, so actually the e-invoice module got the charges, so you have to take note. So the charges will charge per account book. Okay, so if let's say you want the quotation, okay, so you also can look for us lah. Okay, but if let's say it's for the other than the inquiry for quotation demo, okay, so you need the support. Okay, so you do not how to do the registration at the My Invoice portal, My Tax portal, or maybe you face some issue in the setting. Okay, so you can call our hotline. Okay, or maybe you're still using 2.0 or maybe 2.2 is the old version. You can call our hotline to arrange the upgrade. Okay, so that's all for today's sharing. Okay, I hope this video, this sharing is help. Okay, so now you can know how to start, and then you got the idea. Okay, for the e-invoice submission, the process, the flow. Okay, so anything, you can call us lah. Okay, so thank you everyone. So have a nice day. Bye.